I really want to establish the fact that an enmeshed relationship and a close relationship with a parent are two separate things. They're two separate things. So I remember I had a client once and he told me he was in his 20s and he was like, until I started learning about narcissistic parents, borderline parents, parents with addictions, he said, I always thought that I had a close relationship with my mom. I thought it was normal the way we were. And then I realized that we were so enmeshed, and that enmeshed relationship was affecting his current relationship with his significant other, because a lot of the templates that we learn from our parent-child relationships, we live them out in our future relationships. So it's really, really important to recognize if you are in an enmeshed relationship and how to break out of it. So that being said, let's dive in. For those that don't know me, my name is Michelle. I'm a certified trauma-informed coach. I specialize in narcissistic abuse and cptsd recovery. I'm also the founder of the Trauma-Informed Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Coaching Certification Program, which, by the way, I'll leave the link here for anyone that's ready to shift from survivor to coach. So let's talk about those dynamics. I'm talking about sons that are now adults in a healthy relationship with their mother. They can be super close, but they also have boundaries. The mother views their adult son like a separate adult, capable of making decisions. And yes, some of those decisions are going to be things that she may not agree with. And there's a difference between giving your opinion and crossing someone's boundaries. So in a healthy relationship, if a son says no, or, well, I feel this way, there's going to be a respect for their emotional perspective, their thoughts, their feelings, their viewpoints. That's a boundary. You see it this way, I see it that way. There are two separate opinions, and that's normal and okay. In an enmeshed family, the mother will insist that her opinion is the only opinion to have. And it will be said and it will come across extremely strong. And the son is expected to comply. So there are no boundaries. It's always what the mother says, what she wants, her perspective in every way, shape, and form. Number two has to do with your dating life. Okay, so in a healthy relationship of a mother and son that are close, the mother is going to be interested in who their son dates. That is 100% normal. There's personal interest. That's what mothers do. But in an enmeshed family, usually there's enmeshment because the son is there in the mother's eyes to meet her needs. And so if the son is there to meet her needs, well, then the significant other should be there to meet her needs as well. And so the mother is going to be viewing every female that comes into that man's relationship through that lens. How does this meet my needs? And if it doesn't meet their needs, you can be sure that they will do everything to make you think that that is a horrible person for you to be with. Always in your best interest, though. They're always just looking out for you. They're controlling everything. They're not listening. They're not seeing if this person is right for you nearly as much as they're seeing, is this person right for me? And that kind of leads into number three. A mother is going to support your relationship. Now, I was watching in my shallow moments, because I have a lot of those. Okay. Something that I love to watch is Love at First Sight. In the last season, and I can't remember, it was Zach. Sorry, guys. I'm going to just show that, yes, this is what I watch. But Zach got back together with Bliss, right? And the father was not very happy. He was very protective in the beginning. A year later, they had the reunion and she's like, my dad and him are like best buds. So yes, this is the dad, but I just want to show you a healthy parent. In this case, it was the father, but she said, my dad just wanted to know he's protective, but once he saw me happy and everything's fine, he's on board now. Now, a enmeshed mother will see something like that, even if she sees that her son is happy with this person. If it doesn't meet her needs, if it doesn't suit her, even if the son is happy, she's going to want to sabotage it. She will not support it. Number four, in an unmeshed mother and son relationship, a mother sees the similarities and differences in their child and respects both, right? In an enmeshed mother-son relationship, the mother expects you to be the same. You finish each other's sentences. You think the same. You like the same things. You're soulmates in a very weird and emotionally incestual way. So there's no differences. There's no space or respect for the authenticity of the son unless it is exactly in alignment with the mother. Number 5, a healthy mother is going to support your independence. She wants you to grow up and be a man and do things for yourself. An enmeshed mom is going to do things to kind of handicap you so that you're dependent on them. I had another client that told me, like, my mom did everything for me. And so when I went off to college, I was a mess because I didn't know how to do anything. And in a way, that parent also tried to get that child to not go to college. So it's sad. It's sad the sacrifices that the enmeshed mother will go through, or the sacrifices, I should say, that she will make you go through so that you stay dependent on her. Because an enmeshed mother doesn't want you to be successful nearly as much as she wants you to stay with her. Now, if you can be successful and with her, that's an even bigger bonus in her eyes. But being with her trumps everything. And so she does not support your independence. And you have to be careful, because a covert narcissistic mother that's enmeshed, she can hide this. She can encourage your independence in some things, but not in others. And so if you were to try to call her out on that, she will point out the things that she wants you to be independent with. Okay. And that can be really confusing, because you're like, well, no, she wants me to be independent in this, but the independence should be across the board. It shouldn't just be, you can be independent as an adult with this, but in this, no. Number 6, and we're going to go back to relationships, because the mother-son relationship is going to affect all of your romantic relationships. Let's say you are now married, right? She's going to want to make your wife almost like another daughter. She's not going to view, I lost you. No, she's going to be like, I gained something. The enmeshed mother doesn't feel like I gained a daughter-in-law. The enmeshed mother views it almost like a competition, like this weird competition. So now, putting relationships aside, comparing them, let's look at some characteristics that you might have if you have an enmeshed mother. One of them might be that you are unable to make commitments. You might find that in relationships, your relationships don't last very long. You're not able to stay in a relationship for a long time because mom somehow always comes along and is able to put a wedge between you and your significant other. And so you might be in a pattern of, you start relationships as soon as mom knows about them, and then it's over. And you know what? You might not even realize that this is a toxic thing. You might think that mom's looking out for you. Mom's looking out for mom if she can't listen and understand and respect your boundaries and your perspectives. Number 8, something else that might happen, and this would happen more in a long-term relationship. Let's say in a marriage. Now you're married, right? And your mom and your wife are never, on the same page, because your mom is always competing and views this as some kind of attack on her for whatever reason, right? The enmeshed mother creates a lot of drama in a relationship. And what you will find, for those of you that are now married, you probably lash out at your significant other, because you've learned from the time you were little, mom isn't wrong. Mom is there to help you, and it's always in your best interest. So therefore, it must be the problem of your significant other. And it might be really hard for you to wrap your mind around the fact that this relationship that you thought was so close is actually really, really unhealthy. You might lack assertiveness in a relationship. You might wait for your significant other to make the decisions. You might be really laid back. And that's because you weren't taught to be assertive. Your mom was always the assertive one, and you were taught to follow what she said. Well, guess what? That can show up in a relationship. And sadly, what can happen is, because of these qualities that I'm mentioning now, you can actually attract someone that is high on the scale of NPD, someone that is unhealthy because they like to be assertive. And the man is meant to follow them and to stay quiet and do whatever they want. Whereas a healthy woman is going to want someone that is assertive. and that is able to be assertive, even if it's uncomfortable for the significant other. But if your mother taught you that's bad, then seeing your spouse or your significant other angry, upset, or uncomfortable is going to make you uncomfortable and unable to stay in an assertive role. And the last quality that you might find in yourself is you might be the yes man or a people pleaser. You might be very uncomfortable with conflict. When somebody's upset, you back down. And you're not able to handle somebody being upset or angry because, again, when you were a child, one of the ways your mom taught you to be enmeshed was using anger to keep you in the role that she wanted. And that's very easy to do for when you're dealing with a child. And the thing is that what happens to us in our childhood becomes the template through which we live the rest of our life. And so if that discomfort at making mom angry and seeing her upset and disappointed in you was so overwhelming and shame-based, then you can't bear seeing your significant other angry or upset. And so you become a people pleaser, you become uncomfortable with conflict, you don't really show your authentic self because you didn't in the relationship with your mom. You weren't authentic, you were what she wanted you to be. And so all of that comes and gets recreated in adult relationships if we don't heal the wounds that enmeshment causes. And what are those wounds? The wounds that enmeshment causes are the limiting beliefs that are the programs that are running the show in our life. For example, it's not safe to be authentic. I'm responsible for how he or she feels. If somebody's angry, it's my fault. Or if somebody's angry, I'm bad. It's bad to disagree with someone. All of those are limiting beliefs. Our beliefs are what allow us to do, be, think, and feel as who we really are, or our beliefs stop us from doing, being, thinking, and feeling as who our authentic self really is. Healing isn't just about putting boundaries down with mom. It's then about uprooting and upgrading the beliefs that were unfortunately instilled in our subconscious mind.